Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Belichick's Bitches, the number one podcast in the world by some sort of metric, using the best source, the only source. Do you trust me? I am your host, Brennan. As with me, as always, is my co-host Tyler.
A little rusty there, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about. Totally didn't take a
Had
week
a,
off.
so yeah, we took a little week off. No,
Again.
again. Okay, so maybe no. Don't worry about it. So a lot happened, of course, the last couple of weeks since we decided to take a week off because why not? Whew. Some of the bigger storylines. Did we cover the Le'Veon Bell signing? I don't think he was signed when we did the
No, we
podcast a
were
couple weeks ago.
we were talking about him getting possibility of him being traded, and it was either a few hours later, the very next day he got cut, and then signed
Oh
with the
yeah, yeah.
Chiefs.
Which like I understand. Like he's like Brennan's still clowning on me about saying he's probably. I didn't think he was going to get traded because he has that fucking contract. And they just cut him and ate the dead money, like psychopaths. Like
I mean, it
how
makes
do you
sense.
predict?
I mean, no one really would want to trade for that contract.
But it's just like how do you predict a franchise just cutting a contract like that in the middle of the season? That's just insane. But yeah, so they cut Le'Veon Bell. He went to the Chiefs, of course, because the Chiefs obviously are in dire need of help on the offense. They have one of the worst offenses in the league.
Yes.
They got a little bit better. It's just one thing I am glad though is I hope Edwards Hilaire keeps his fantasy value. I think he will. He's going to be cutting into Williams' touches and the running back there. I don't know the last running back there, but I think Bell is going to be a pass catcher more in that offense. Just scary because he's going to be just a monster. Mahomes. I think we'll see some more of that this week against the Jets. Yeah, they play the Jets this week.
Yep.
Oh boy,
Yep.
it's gonna be bad.
That's just gonna be a bad game overall. It's like, don't even bother watching.
Over under on Le'Veon Bell's yards. I'd go over under 100 yards.
You
Even in a
don't.
backup role, they're going to give him snaps
You
against this
said
former
over?
team. I'd say over 100 yards.
Oh well.
I think so. I think they'll do it
Like
on
from
purpose.
from scrimmage or
Yeah, from scrimmage. I don't think he'll get 100 rushing yards. I think he'll maybe get like 40 rushing yards, 60 receiving yards, and a touchdown thrown in there.
I could see
Something
that,
like
but
that.
I'd probably take the under.
It depends because I feel like that might have been part of going to the Chiefs, not just going to the Super Bowl, but I feel like he just wanted to beat the hell out of the Chiefs,
The
the
Jets.
Jets. So might as well go out there and just freaking dump. Let them play the game. I think that'd be cool, but goes.
I mean, if
Yeah,
we
so
were
that
able to beat the
happened.
Jets, the Chiefs are.
Any team should be able to beat the
Yeah.
Jets. It's like when you're making the list of the worst teams in the league, the difference between 31 and 32 is massive. The Jets are that much worse than like the next worst team.
Yeah.
And I think the next worst team would be like what the Jaguars maybe.
Probably the Jaguars. Yeah.
Like yeah, that type thing. You can even put the Falcons in that discussion because they're just awful. So and then another NFC South team's like, hey, we don't have enough. The Buccaneers don't have enough weapons.
The
They go
Chiefs
out
of the
and sign
NFC.
Antonio Brown.
Except they have except the Bucks have a much better defense.
The Chiefs' defense is pretty good, though. I mean, they've been really good this season.
Yeah, but the
And a
Bucks have a
few
lot more studs and
yeah.
stars.
Jamel Dean, I called that breakout. Called Jamel Dean's breakout.
All right.
But
All
yeah, so
right.
the Bucks
I
signed
I'm
Antonio
mad.
Brown.
I'm mad about that. I'm so mad. There goes
What?
Scotty Miller.
Oh, but see, at the same time, I don't know how long Antonio Brown's going to be there. I mean, this could end up being like a 1 week thing, like it was in New England.
Like what was Patriots? Yep.
I mean, he's got a history. This is what his fourth team now, and
Yeah.
you know who knows how long because him and Arians don't like each other. That's already been decided. They
Scotty
do
Miller
not
for
like
the
each other.
win. Come on,
I
Scotty.
don't think it's going to affect Miller that much. But just that offense. Who do you double cover and who do you leave one on one? No, Godwin has his fingers broken finger, so he's going to be out next week. But who do you guard on that team? Who I guess you have to double cover Evans because he's the best receiver on the team.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you double cover him, you're leaving, Antonio Brown open. You're leaving, Gronk open.
Scotty Miller.
Scotty Miller open. Miller's been taking advantage of those one-on-ones. He's averaging, 70, 80 yards a game.
Yeah, he's been doing.
So he was having a good season. So I don't think this Brown. I don't know, man. I don't understand the signing. I thought the Seahawks were a better team for Antonio Brown, but what do I know? Apparently not much. Bill situation. I'm still salty about that.
Yes, you are.
So, what did you think of the? I'm gonna put a heavy emphasis on rumors. The Quinnen Williams rumor. He could be traded.
I think it honestly could happen, but it's the Jets, so who knows what's gonna happen. I wasn't a fan of picking a fan of the pick in the first place, especially number 3 overall. He definitely hasn't lived up to that number 3 overall pick at all throughout his career thus far. I think it's like I don't want to use Pro Football Focus because I'll say it just because it's there. I think it's he was like ranked like the 49th best interior defensive lineman in the league or something like that, or 49. It was like 49 something. It was either D tackle or interior defensive lineman.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth on Quinnen because I feel like he came in with a lot more expectations for a project that was nowhere near done.
Oh yeah, he is absolutely 100% a project.
But he has been pretty good this season. He has 3 sacks, I think, and he's missed a game. He's pretty good this season so far. I don't know if the value's there for enough for a trade right now,
especially for a return on interest. No way.
Yeah, I mean,
get a return on interest.
Because the Jets are going to be asking for at minimum a second
return on investment. No return on
They're going to be
interest.
asking. They're going to be asking for a second round pick.
At least.
And they may be asking for a late first. They ain't going to get a late first for Quinnen Williams.
No,
Happening.
I wouldn't give up more than like a late third, honestly.
So it's going to be rough for the Jets on this. I mean, I don't really think they need to rush to trade Williams. Still have him under contract for like another year or 2.
Yeah, for another 2 years after this because he's on the rookie contract. Unless
it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to trade him right now. I mean, you're not going to get the value out of him. I mean, if you're really going to get a middle round pick, you might as well just let him play his contract out and get a third round pick when he leaves in free agency.
That's the tour, yeah. But it all depends on if you want that pick now or pick later.
Does it matter with you, the Jets? Oh, and speaking of the Jets, I didn't write this on the script, but I have to bring this up. Did you see the article on ESPN today about Trevor Lawrence?
About him being asked the possibility of whether or not he'd stay in school?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's intriguing because that could be a huge red flag for the Jets if they're on this serious tank job.
Please do it, Trevor. Don't go to the Jets.
That would be. Yeah, I mean, I'd feel bad for Trevor, man.
Use the leverage you have. Do not go to the Jets.
Yeah. I feel bad for the Jets because they're tanking, obviously. No, about the Jets, man. Do you think they could go 0-16 with how they're playing right now?
With how they're playing, yes. Are they? Definitely is a good possibility. Their best chance of winning left on their schedule. I'm sorry to say this, but it's either the Pats in Week 9 or the Dolphins in Week 12. Those are their best chances of winning right now. Or maybe
we'll be talking about We'll be talking about the Patriots.
I'm sorry to say it, but I'm gonna say it because I.
Trust me, we'll be getting to the Patriots.
And we'll be getting to the Broncos too.
But see, your Broncos rant. You've been preparing this for weeks. This New England rant is coming from the soul after Sunday. Whew. It even had a Monday to marinate.
I didn't even get to watch the game against the Chiefs, and I'm still pissed. I know exactly what had happened.
I was watching the New England game in my sorrow. I kept looking down on the scoreboard, and every time the update came, it felt like the Chiefs scored a touchdown. It was like Oh, here. Oh, look, it's 7-0. All of a sudden, it's 14-0. Then the next time it comes out 21-0 on a kickoff. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
God. It was brutal. We'll save the talk because that's a rant. But so yeah, let's move on from that. So Fitzpatrick, this was announced again after our last podcast episode 2 weeks ago. Patrick got benched.
2 a time.
Tua completed 2 passes for 13 yards and it's the starter. I don't know if I agree with it.
Can we just, but either way, can we just give a round of applause to Ryan Fitzpatrick for being such a stand-up guy?
Man, he's had one of the most underrated. I mean, it's hard to believe someone who's so popular with the fan base is actually underrated in terms of his career.
Yeah.
Because he's mentored some good quarterbacks.
Yeah. Him and McCown have done great things for people they've mentored.
Yes.
They're probably the best.
Even
mentors you
Smith.
could probably have.
Smith.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith's done pretty good
Yeah.
for teams. It's just people think that to be a mentor, you have to be really good on the field, and that's just not the case. There's so many more things than just being a good player that makes you a good mentor.
Yeah.
And of course, that's part of it, being a solid player. But these guys like Fitz and McCown, and
They've
if you
seen
want to put
everything.
Smith
They've
or
been everywhere. They've seen everything. They know how everything works.
even some more names like Matt Moore, or Chad Henne. Those guys that you don't really think about, but have done a lot for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I just it's cool to see those guys get recognized every now and again. I hope Fitz gets another job next year. I don't think it'll be in Miami, but I hope he gets another job.
He definitely.
New England might even call him up. Run the gauntlet, New England. We need something down there. It would be cool to see, but yeah, Fitzpatrick, he deserves everything, and he'll probably play again before the end of the season. Going Fitzpatrick cycle. The Fitzpatrick cycle.
Yeah. You play terribly. Yeah. No, you play well enough just to get paid. Then you get paid. Then you start playing badly, and you get benched for like a rookie, and then the cycle starts again. And the rookie stinks. He puts back in. The cycle starts.
It's happened 3-4 times. It's the Fitzpatrick cycle, and hey, it works for him.
Maybe you could also throw like Nick Foles in there as one of those quarterback mentors.
He has. He mentored Wentz. Then he mentored. Who did he mentor in Kansas City? He was just Alex Smith's backup. He didn't mentor anybody. But then he mentored Wentz, and then he went to Jacksonville, mentored Minshew a little bit, and then now he's in Chicago. I don't think he's mentoring Trubisky because Trubisky's kind of that lost cause. But
yeah, pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
I actually saw like a stat today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the teams that are like, it was like have 5 wins or more in their point differential. Every single one of those teams had a positive point differential. The Bears had a -2 point differential at 5-2. With a 5-2
I'd love to
record.
see it. Yeah, that Bears team is so hard to judge because they play well in close games. It's just they're not good.
No.
That's what's insane. They're 5-2.
They'll probably somehow
really
make playoffs, but they're not Super Bowl bound at all in the slightest.
No, I think they'll be wild. I think they could be the type of team that'll be in the wild card round. They may play a puff team like whoever wins the NFC East.
Yeah.
Then just get demolished in the divisional round. That's kind of what I see the Bears doing. But by the way, speaking of the NFC East,
NFC East.
Eagles are leading the division
at 2-4-1. That
and
division.
even if they lose against the Cowboys,
they're still in the lead.
They'd still be leading unless Washington wins, which anyway, it's Washington. So that's insane.
Well, they
the
can't
Eagles
win. They're on a bye.
Oh yeah, they can't. Oh, they are. Oh shoot. But then I guess Washington would be the de facto. I don't know that there's way too much weirdness going on in that division. Meanwhile, and then in the NFC West, you have 3 teams over 5 wins right now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
As
NFL.
expected.
Those teams are just insane out there. Yes, the Eagles, and they played a pretty I can't even say they did. Eagles just they're not exciting to watch. Really boring. Just it's
Yeah,
kind of I know a broad term to say like, oh they're boring. They're just boring.
I don't
Like
know.
there's nothing. I mean, watching Wentz doesn't have that magic anymore. His confidence is definitely not where it used to be in previous
I feel like
seasons.
Doug
Doug
Peterson
Peterson.
has lost his touch.
Oh my God, Doug Peterson.
Doug
Oh, I can't. Watching Doug Peterson
like
call plays is just that man on a 2-point conversion to win or to tie the game. I'm gonna call read option. Same read option
I
I
thought it was
called.
an RPO.
Oh, it was a read option.
Uh,
Yeah, Wentz didn't even like glance at the end zone. He was fully handing out off or running it. Then, but the thing is, they had run that option 3 times that game. The defense knew it was coming for the 4th time. I mean, you can't do that. Yeah, the Eagles are 2-4-1. If I had to pick a team in that division, I guess it would be the Eagles. I don't know. Washington looked decent against Dallas.
yeah.
Yes.
somehow I want to say either the Giants or Washington. Actually, somehow, some
Wouldn't be
way.
surprising. The Giants, no. No. Giants are just the Giants. If they had Barkley, maybe.
Yeah.
And
The
then,
division's that bad that I can actually see the Giants actually making a push for the.
they're
division
still in it
title.
at 1. They're 1-6, and they're still in a playoff
Yep.
run.
And who knows how long Andy Dalton's gonna be out for? So the
Man.
Cowboys are on what? Cooper Rush is their starting quarterback.
Oh, it's Ben DiVinci. Was the quarterback that took over. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a
were.
rookie?
I think he's a first-year player. I'm not sure though.
I could have
And,
sworn they drafted a quarterback this year.
they did.
Yeah,
like,
it was him. Yeah, 7th round pick this
Yeah.
last draft. Ben DiNucci.
But that's not who played. It was Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, Ben DiNucci who was
Um,
drafted this year, 7th round, 2027
Really?
round pick. Yeah, I knew they drafted a quarterback. I just didn't know his name.
I did not know that. Right. Yeah, you know a little bit more about. I
he's
honestly
back.
I saw his name on ESPN.
So the quarterbacks for the Cowboys are now Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert, depending on how long Andy Dalton's out for.
Yikes! You heard anything about the Dalton injury? Like I know.
No, I
like, how
really
severe was it?
haven't. Yeah, let me go ahead
It's
and
a
look
little worrying. That hit, man. It was a dirty hit.
that was,
And-
it was, yes.
Bostic was just. I don't know what he was trying to. What kind of message he was doing. But when your quarterback gets hit late, your team's supposed to get pissed off, supposed to stand up for their quarterback, even if it's a backup or a third string. You're not supposed to just let it happen. I mean, no Dallas teammate went to Dalton's defense
No,
after that hit.
they just
I mean,
kinda
and I think
whatever.
it's like, and I think the best quote I heard was the Cowboys aren't a football team; they're just an accumulation of talent. I think that was PFG that said that. If you have no heart watching your quarterback get knocked out of the game by a dirty hit, you have no passion for that. I mean, you're right there. That's a huge flaw.
I'd probably almost guarantee
And I think that starts with the
Andy
coach.
Dalton is at least missing this week.
That probably would happen. I mean, he got stretchered off, I think. I mean, I don't know. I just feel bad for him.
It says he's questionable, but since it's a
Yeah.
concussion, I'd almost guarantee him missing this week.
So, just damn. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys, man. That issues there are deep. Traded Everson Griffin today to the Lions.
And take us through the
Got
process.
5th, I think. Yeah, very low value. So I feel bad for Dalton, and I just think that the Cowboys. If I had to pick a team out of them that might be the worst, it would be the Cowboys. So they have more wins than the Giants, but
Daniel Jones is frustrating. Ugh.
he shows flashes of immense talent. Then he throws into triple coverage.
Or he'll get tripped by the grass and with a wide open touchdown in front
Okay,
of
but, okay. In his defense, okay, in his defense, he shouldn't have gotten that far anyway.
him. I'm
Because that
pretty
was
sure
a
that's not a
blown
valid
coverage.
defense.
That
He
is, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I
he
shouldn't
got.
have run this. I shouldn't be allowed to go this far anyway. So I'm just gonna, trip on a blade of grass.
Yeah, he definitely that was a blunder. But at the same time, that was a hell of a play by him. But
It was also a hilarious play by him.
I still like
It was a hell of a
Mahomes'
play,
tweet about it.
followed by a laugh and then a head shake.
I like Mahomes' reaction to it.
I
That was my favorite part of it.
Mahomes'
Mah-
reaction to it.
Mahomes said, he said, everyone's telling me to say something. I said, I can't run that far. he said, I can't laugh. I can't run that far. Yeah, I think he actually reached almost what Tyreek Hill ran on his fastest play last year.
Daniel Jones?
Parrot? Yes.
No way.
That's yeah, Tyreek Hill. If you go on Tyreek Hill's Twitter, it was a couple days ago when it happened, and he quote retweeted it. He said, "See, I'm not even that fast." Yeah, it was.
No
Daniel Jones was
way.
booking it. Yeah, he definitely has a lot of inconsistencies. And by the way, my favorite, it's becoming a weekly occurrence now. Happened again. The Falcons choked.
Third time in one season. 3 times in one season. 3 times in half a season. That leaves only 4 games right now. They've almost choked in 50% of all their games.
And this one was, you kind of knew the moment Gurley scored the touchdown,
Oh my lord, you were right.
it was over. Yeah.
Daniel
Yeah,
Jones
just makes-
21.23 miles per hour. Tyreek Hill 21.29 miles per hour. Wow. Okay.
Daniel Jones is a speed freak. No, but
That's the thing that
Madden needs to
Madden's
give
gonna
him a-
fix. Madden's gonna be like, oh, we're gonna boost up Daniel Jones' speed by 2 overalls instead of actually fixing our game. That'll make the people happy, right?
I think Keenan Allen called the game trash. It
Good.
was funny.
I think
Oh, but back to the
Jerry Jeudy and Henry
what's
Woods are
it called?
supposed to actually play each other today, from what I've seen on
Boy.
Twitter.
Sad. Yeah, the choke, Gurley. So I don't know if you remember, but Penn State I think was playing Iowa on Saturday.
No, they were playing
And the
Indiana.
same-
Indiana.
Indiana, sorry.
That makes it
They were
even
playing,
worse.
and the same thing happened. Indiana tried to let him score a touchdown, and the running back just realized it a half a step too late, scored a touchdown. Well, the same thing happened to Gurley. Let him score a touchdown, and he tried to stop his momentum on the one, and he just
Fell in.
fell.
Yep.
And I always love the pick of when that happens, and the defenders are like celebrating the touchdown, and they're like touchdown, touchdown. It's always a great
Yeah.
picture.
He just the
See.
Lions. I just saw like a Lions player like standing next to him in the end zone with his hands up. It's like
Yeah. It's pretty much 2020. I think that was chapter 2020 in a nutshell. It was cool to see. And then you even though the Lions had no timeouts and they had, the whole 80 yards to go, you just kind of knew it was over. And Stafford just does what he does, picks the defense apart. There was a
the
couple
only good Georgia quarterback
BS
ever.
flags. I don't know if you watched it. There was a couple BS flags near the end.
No, I
They were
didn't
trying to
watch it.
stall the game. Stupid.
I barely got to watch
Not
any
even gonna
games.
I'm not even going to go in. It would take me like 10 minutes to explain the flags, and it's not worth it.
I was stuck in a car for
Oh,
like
you know
5 to
that.
6 hours on Sunday, so I didn't get to really see any games.
I watched the Steelers Titans game, then I watched that game, and then I watched the Patriots Niners game.
Yeah,
and
I
then
was able to
cried
watch a bit
myself
of the
to sleep.
Steelers Titans. That was pretty much it. I got to see oh my lord, what looked like while I was watching it. The Jets were beating the Bills by like 2 scores. It's like, what are you doing?
And
What
then
are
and
you
then
doing,
and the
Buffalo?
Bills kicked 6 field goals, and that was it.
Bills impersonating the Broncos.
Pretty much. So the Bungles and the Browns played a hell of a game.
Rest
They
in
were
peace,
going back and
Odell
forth.
Beckham Jr. torn ACL out for the
Yeah.
season.
That sucks. See the play? He was trying to make a tackle on a pick, and he jumped in the air to avoid his teammate, and his leg wrapped around him.
Oof.
It was pretty gruesome. But yeah, Baker had a hell of a game. He started off 0 for 5.
Yeah, I saw that
And
0
then
for 5 with the
decided to-
interception, and then like I
and
remember
then he
I
just
saw a tweet about that.
started dotting.
And then he had
He
like
just started dotting,
he only missed like what, like 5 passes like the rest of the game for like 200 something yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that.
including a dime to Donovan People-Jones, and I mean a freaking dime, like 11 seconds. And then Burrow went out there and threw a Hail Mary that almost was caught. Nobody talks about that. He was on his own fucking like 35 and reared back, threw it, and it was on the line of the end zone.
I've actually
The
seen
goal line.
people start saying that the problem in Cleveland isn't Baker, it's Odell. Like
Oh,
Odell's the
I guess
reason
we'll see
Baker's
if
been
that's
playing
true.
terribly. Well,
Yeah,
not
that
good.
doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, Baker. Yeah, and then that Burrow Hail Mary. I almost thought AJ Green caught it, but he didn't catch it. It was
Oh yeah,
sad.
like Burrow has like the most pass attempts by a rookie since like 2004 or something like that. Throughout like this first 7-8 weeks,
I'm just worried that the Bengals are going to get him hurt.
probably.
To be honest, I mean he's playing really well. He deserves a lot better play from his teammates, and Zach Taylor is being a little suspicious. It's what, year 3, man.
Yeah,
You
I think
need to
Zach
wake
Taylor
up, yeah, Zach
experiment's
Taylor.
kinda over.
But see, that's the thing. You can't really justify firing him because he drafted Burrow. He drafted himself a quarterback. He's bought himself at least 2 years of Burrow, unless they just absolutely think it's beyond saving.
I mean, the offensive line is right now really beyond saving.
Yeah, and then
Ugh.
is Jonah even playing? It doesn't even feel like anyone on that offensive line is doing good. I mean, I know
don't think-
Billy Price can't make the lineup still,
Yeah, which
like
is
which is sad. What, another bust that not many people talk
Jonah
about.
Williams probably wouldn't be even making the starting lineup if there's someone decent there.
Yeah.
I want to see, actually, they drafted a rookie tackle that I like, Hakeem Adeniji. I want to see if he's played.
I think so. I think that name sounds familiar. Yeah, it's just, I feel bad for Burrow. He's taken a lot of hits. I think he's on track to be sacked the most by a rookie quarterback in history.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Burrow's going to set a lot of records and not good records this season. It's not even his fault. That's what's insane. But one thing is, man, Burrow's arm. So there were some people that kind of questioned how his arm strength would transfer. He's answered that question. His
Yeah.
arm is freaking insane.
No, Hakeem Adeniji is not starting. He's the backup to Michael Jordan at left guard.
Michael Jordan is like the one person on that offensive line that I know that isn't terrible. That's
Yeah.
not a compliment.
Jonah Williams, Michael Jordan, Trey Hopkins, Alex Redmond, and Bobby Hart.
Imagine not being able to start over Alex Redmond. Lee
You mean
Price.
Trey Hopkins?
And Trey Hopkins. Well, he plays both center and guard.
That's true.
Imagine
He's
not being
actually
able
the
to
third
slide
string
into
right
one.
guard.
Imagine not being able to slide into one of those two positions.
They have
There's got to be.
Fred Johnson. They have Fred Johnson who can play, who's second left tackle, second right tackle, and second right guard. Billy Price is the third right guard.
Jesus. The Titans were getting steamrolled
Oh yeah.
in the first half.
They only had 5 total yards of offense in the first half.
It was embarrassing. And it was almost like the 49ers Patriots game. It was gross. But
Garoppolo.
he was the only one that didn't play good on the Niners too.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going off on the different tangent. But yeah, and the Titans roared back. I didn't watch the second half of the game. I think I was making something to eat. I didn't watch it. And then all of a sudden I hear the Titans are a field goal away from tying it up, and then they missed it because Cyborg is old.
You know, they couldn't have done that in week 1. Come on now.
Hey, Cyborg gave y'all 5 opportunities to win that game.
This is very true.
Right?
It's very true. Gostkowski has just been this season.
He's an inconsistent, but I think he's probably bought himself the job the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So After these last few weeks,
You're dumb.
I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think the Steelers are the best team in the AFC?
And the AFC, no.
Really?
I'd still probably say the Chiefs, honestly.
Hmm. I go back and forth on this question because I really like the Steelers' style of play. But my only issue is I don't know how it's going to translate against a team like the Chiefs. You can score on the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what the Steelers have done against opponents. They're doing really good, but none of the offenses they've faced have been like top 10. Really, like one of those explosive offenses.
No.
I guess you could call the Titans explosive, but it's really Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it's a Derrick Henry show. It's not really an explosive offense unless the only time the Titans offense is explosive is when Derrick Henry gets going and Ryan Tannehill can use that play action to its maximum effectiveness, which is when he's at his best.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. You need to see it. I would probably agree with you on the Chiefs are better. I think the Steelers, if they keep winning, we're eventually going to have to give it to them. I love the Steelers defense, though. They shouldn't be as good as they are defense. So way too many holes on paper for that defense to be that good.
Yeah.
I mean, they started some rookie who's only played 2 snaps, middle linebacker, and he played really well against the Titans. She tackled Derrick Henry 1-on-1. Just in itself,
that's impressive.
In itself, there should be a freaking trophy for being able to tackle Derrick Henry in one hit, like a big old statue. Yeah, probably not. A lot of good things.
The Saints are very disappointing
yeah.
this season. The Saints.
As a Michael Thomas fantasy owner,
you mean
I really hate the Saints even more.
I
hate the Saints. I hate the Saints even more than I hated them last year, and I hate the Saints a lot. No.
When the best receiver on your team is your running back. Oof.
Kamara has definitely proven. I wasn't talking trash about Kamara, but I kind of said Kamara fell off a little bit last season. Yeah, he proved me wrong. Big time. He's been just out of his mind this season.
I mean, he kind of has to be. He's the entire Saints offense, practically.
Yeah. But
Drew Brees has been reminding me a lot of 2015 Peyton Manning, honestly.
It's his arm strength. Before, he's never really been the guy, especially in New Orleans, to have that crazy arm.
No.
But this season, it looks like he's just throwing it with his non-dominant hand. None of the passes have the spiral anymore that he was known for. A loose spiral, and I don't know. He hasn't looked the same.
I wonder if there's a point in this season where you see someone else start taking first team reps for the Saints.
Jameis
or Taysom, yeah.
Excuse me.
I mean, with Sean Payton there, we're probably going to see Taysom Hill get the first crack at first team quarterback over Jameis, honestly.
I swear if they do that, that'd be so disrespectful to Jameis.
I mean, Jameis doesn't have the best track record.
No, he doesn't. But at the same time, I mean, he's better than Taysom in every facet.
As a quarterback.
When we heard Damian RC talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even call Taysom Hill a quarterback. His passing stats aren't good. No. I mean, I count him as just a player. As a weapon.
He had 100% completion percentage for 0 yards against Carolina. Watch your mouth.
Bro. He had that little bubble screen.
In his career, Taysom Hill is 8 for 16, 157 yards and 1 interception.
Yeah. So he's like Cam Newton. I'm sorry, I still love you, Cam. Not really.
I've never loved you, Cam Newton, so it's okay.
Cam gave me a dick punch last night. Yeah, the Panthers. We have to give the Panthers credit though. They are further along in this rebuild than I think anyone thought would be.
Yeah.
They are just really solid. Joe Brady's offense has looked good even without McCaffrey. He's getting production out of Mike Davis. He's getting big time production, which is crazy to see. Bridgewater has looked pretty good. I think he's secured a spot
year.
for next season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there was talks earlier in the season that if they struggle, like if they struggled week 1, there was rumors that they would just like tank for Trevor. That's not happening. I think Panthers might end up winning 7-8 games. Sneak in. They win. They could. They definitely showed they can beat.
They
the
can get a
Saints.
day 2 quarterback if they wanted to, but probably not any of the
I mean,
day 1 guys.
I don't know, man. The day 2 quarterbacks this draft, I'm not high on.
I mean, they're not terrible. I like some of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I
don't know.
finished my top 10 already. For
Yeah,
positions.
I should do that too and see how we compare because I've already forgotten yours.
Yeah, I had Zach Wilson out of BYU as my number 4 quarterback behind the top 3, and then I believe it was Kyle Trask. Those are only really day 2 quarterbacks you have.
And
Zach
Trask
Wilson and
is
Trask.
a little iffy for me.
Honestly, I actually kind of like Zach Wilson, honestly. And that's rare to see an actual player that has like this kind of draft hype, so to say, coming out of BYU because he's projected as like a 2nd round pick right now. I don't think
At BYU
I
isn't
can't
known for their
remember the last
quarterbacks.
time we've seen someone going into or like halfway through the college season from BYU be projected that high. Honestly,
it's
can't
been
remember.
There was a quarterback that came out of BYU, and I cannot remember who it is for the life of me. So yeah, we talked about the Bills and the Jets. Game was just gross. That, but yeah, I think what's it called? The Packers. They kind of came back from their little getting steamrolled by Jamal Dean and the GOAT. It was cool to see, I guess. Houston sucks.
Yeah.
Bad.
Deshaun Watson did pretty well though. He did his best.
Yeah. I had both Watson and Rodgers in fantasy, and just part of my brain said, "Oh yeah, start Watson." And then of course Rodgers goes out there and throws 4 touchdowns because
Yeah, that was annoying having to play against Devontae Adams. I was pissed off when I saw that. It's like, great, he got 40 points. Got 40 points from one player, and I actually made that game competitive. I think I only lost by like 2 points.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had to play against someone. Yeah, it was 149 to 147, and he had to play with 40 points. It's like, I don't know what else I could do against that. Thanks to Darrell Henderson for getting 9 points. Or like New York's defense for only getting 1 interception that whole game. So I only got 2 points from them.
yeah. Oh, what's it called? So, Max Kellerman has been on the Tom Brady's fallen off of a cliff thing.
You know Tom Brady's
like,
gonna
what,
fall off a cliff.
4 years.
Tom Brady's gonna fall off
They
a cliff.
they finally made him admit he was wrong. Which again, I never thought I'd see that. I thought he was just going to hold that off until he retired. Or not. But so Brady has another good game. I know the Bucs had a lot of like hype around him this season, but they're delivering. They've had a couple clunkers. I think the Bears game and then the Saints opener.
Yeah.
Beside that, they've looked really good. No, I don't like seeing Brady dominate in a Bucs uniform because it disgusts me.
I just don't like seeing Brady dominate in general, so it disgusts me in any uniform.
But he's proving that it wasn't just
even if it was a Denver uniform, I think that'd be even more disgusting for me. I probably throw up in my mouth every single.
You'd
time
love
I
it.
field.
Oh, you'd love it.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you. I think definitely he's proven that it wasn't just Belichick. He's gotten some help from his receiving core. I know. I'm not gonna say it's like, oh, he's the best ever because he's doing this. He's the best ever before it, but he's definitely looked really good. That's cool to see. I just hope that if he wins the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, I just want to see the reactions from the league. That's all I want to see. I don't really want the Buccaneers to win. I don't really care for the Buccaneers. I just want to see the fans react to Brady winning it.
Tom Brady.
We get that 2020. Give us something good. Come on, man. I want to see it. Oh yeah, Herbert.
Herbert,
Damn.
Herbert.
What is wrong? What is up with Herbert, man? He is possessed.
He is not. We are seeing someone completely different here in the NFL than we ever did at Oregon.
He's just, I don't know what it is.
He just turned it on. That's
Yeah.
that's really all there is. He turned it on. A great job to the Chargers quarterback coach. I don't know his name, but shout out to
Whoever
him.
it is deserves a raise. I mean, he looked comfortable. He's made a couple bonehead decisions, but every rookie does that.
Yeah.
And he just
Anthony
looks.
Lynn need
comfortable.
screwing him. But shout
Yeah,
out
and,
to the
and
quarterback coach.
yeah. And I mean, if you give him like a quarterback-minded coach, whew, that'd be nuts. I really love watching Herbert succeed. He's making Rookie of the Year like a race. I don't think
Oh, yeah.
anyone expected Rookie of the Year to be like. Everyone kind of thought Offensive Rookie of the Year, Burrow, D-Roy, Young, and move on.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a race, man. It's gonna come down to it. I think it might come down to the last few weeks of the season who finishes the strongest. Because they're both right now pretty neck and neck.
Pep Hamilton. That's our quarterback coach. Shout out to Pep Hamilton.
Where have I heard of that name before? I've heard that name before, and I can't remember where. It's bugging
He
me.
was the head coach / GM for the DC Defenders.
That's that. Thank you. That's him. Yes. I thought that name sounded familiar. So, so Sunday night, I think we had the best Sunday night game of the year.
Yeah.
The Seahawks and Cardinals. What a game! I only watched like the fourth quarter and overtime. Jeez, it was a good game. Back and forth offense. There was no defense being played. Seattle's defense is god awful, and Arizona's isn't much better. And they were just going back and forth. And then, so the two highlights of the game, first of all, were Arizona, that late pick, sealing the game. That was beautiful. And then,
DK.
of course, what I think everyone
being a
remembers,
menace.
DK is a superhuman.
Oh yeah.
Superhuman.
Oh
my God.
I just want to give myself a pat on the back for having DK as my wide receiver 1 in that class. Even though everyone was like, but his 3-cone, but his 3-cone, but his 3-cone. It's like, okay, DK's
What,
still
his
my wide receiver 1.
I think he was my number 2. I had AJ Brown.
I know one Giants fan was pissed at me because I had them drafting DK at number 6 overall over Daniel Jones.
Bet you wish they could have that draft pick back.
Who else
Yeah,
would they
DK's
take
a
there?
super.
I mean,
The only other thing I could think of they're taking was offensive lineman. I don't remember exactly what offensive linemen were available.
yeah.
I guess offensive lineman.
I mean, they'd still need a quarterback.
Yeah,
They'd still.
that was when they had
Eli.
they still had Eli going in, so they could have just rolled like
They
rolled
probably could have
Eli and
taken.
rushed that team.
They probably could have gone DK and then Locke in the second.
Probably.
But even then, it still might not be that good, and I'll get into that later.
Well, we're almost there. We're one storyline away. I promise you. So, Bears
Bears.
Rams game. I'm gonna use my favorite. It was a clunker. It wasn't very entertaining. The Bears didn't even score an offensive touchdown. It was a block punt, I think.
Don't you just love those games?
It's just, I'm not like one of those guys that like loves offense. I mean, I consider myself more of a defensive guy.
I love watching defensive football, but if the if it's there's a difference between defensive football and offensive ineptitude, and if it's offensive ineptitude, that is extremely frustrating and terrible to watch.
That was like why the Rams-Patriots game everyone found so boring. It wasn't because the defenses were playing good. It's just the offenses were freaking asleep.
Yeah.
You know? So, it was a terrible game. The only thing I could think of that was even worth talking about in that game was there's nothing to talk about. Trubisky could get called back up to be the starter again because Foles is struggling. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation.
It really is.
You keep in Foles, and you deal with his struggles where he can only beat Brady, and you roll with that. or you roll with Trubisky, who is the most inconsistent quarterback on the planet.
They don't even have a third quarterback on the depth chart.
No, they don't.
Tyree
it's one of those two
Jackson.
options.
Tyree Jackson.
Tyree Jackson is the savior. Yeah, so it's pretty bad. All right, I'll let you go on your Broncos, right? Because my New England rant's going to take longer.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm going to be more passionate. I'll let you dog on your Broncos for a little bit.
The Broncos are terrible. I don't know what else there is to say. I said at the beginning of the season, we ride or die by Drew Lock this season. Sure enough, he gets injured very start of week 2. Week 1, he looked promising. Week 2, he got injured. And since he's got back, he hasn't looked great at all, honestly. In the last 2 games, he's had 0 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, I believe. Yeah, he is not looking great. Let me see this again. I have the stats right
Drew
here.
Lock expected to miss between 3 to 5 weeks.
Right now on the season, he is 56% completion percentage for 679 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. And playing in 3 games. That's basically a 3-game sample size because the game against Pittsburgh doesn't really count all that much.
That's gross.
Projected for the season, projected for the rest of the season, 56% completion percentage for 1,800 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions to finish the season. If he keeps on the same track he's on right now.
Yeah. So maybe he's not having the best stretch.
I think my mind's already made up on Lock, unlike a lot of Broncos fans. Unless he shows dramatic improvement, he's not the answer, and we need to go back to the drawing board. I know that's the thing that none of us as Broncos fans want to hear, but that's a real conversation we need to have. Drew Lock, he showed promise at times. I think his best game as a pro came last year against the Lions, and that's not saying much. His best game as a pro so far has been pretty much an average game for good quarterbacks in the league. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, we need to give Drew Lock another year or so. We just need to go all in on the offensive line. It's like, we've been saying that for the past, since Trevor Siemian, since Manning retired, for the past 4 years we've been saying that. It's, the quarterback makes an offensive line, really. If your quarterback, like we saw with Jeff Driscoll, the offensive line looked horrendous with Jeff Driscoll, a quarterback, because he has a fetish for getting sacked. But when you have a quarterback that actually throw the ball on time to where it's supposed to go, the offensive line looks better than what it really is. So, if you're having this much trouble, the quarterback's struggling this much with this many weapons and weapons he's familiar with, I'm done pointing the finger at the offensive line. I'm pointing the finger where it needs to be pointed to, and that's Drew Lock. He needs to improve, or we need to get back to the drawing board in this year's draft class.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, you see in Seattle, that offensive line is not good. The players aren't big names except Dwayne Brown, but they go out there and they play really well. You know, and they match their offensive style with Wilson. I don't know why I was thinking Breeze. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think Bowles has been a pleasant surprise. I know you keep sending me the PFF grades and the,
PFF is graded Bowles with a 90+ grade this season as their number 1 left tackle. So the Bowles thing is going to be interesting this offseason. We did not pick up his 5th-year option, so he's up for an extension. He'll be walking this year unless we give him an extension. My opinion on it is give Bowles the franchise tag. Let him show another year. And actually we'll probably have fans in the stadium next year, which will probably I think has impacted Bowles in some way. Not having fans has actually been a help for him because he's not getting booed as much, and so it's not as like in his head all the time. With Simmons, I say trade him if you can. Honestly, trade Simmons, or if you can get him on a cheaper extension than what he was asking for last season, I think that'd be good too. Either extend him for cheaper or give him a transition tag or trade him before the deadline on November 3rd, I believe it is. we need to go back to the drawing board for quarterback. If Simmons isn't being projected to be a part of this team in the future, get rid of him now to give us some more draft capital that we could use to potentially go after one of the top 3 quarterbacks, or if not, just to keep improving the team.
You could also use Locke to trade up.
Yeah,
That's something I think.
we could, but I doubt that's something that would happen because he still has 2 years left on his 2 years left on his contract.
That's true, but I mean, the way I see it, if there's a team like at number I don't know 7 that could use a nice young backup quarterback to groom,
Like a Falcons.
be worth a shot. No, I don't think the Falcons would trade down. They'd be crucified if they trade down.
Probably, yeah.
All right.
Maybe the Dolphins.
Maybe. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, they don't really need a backup though.
That's true.
They'll find a veteran backup to next season.
Dallas, Washington, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be true. All right. So, New England walked in. Now, I think I told you before the game, I didn't think we were going to win. I kind of get that gut feeling before a game if we're going to win or not. I'm pretty accurate on it. Didn't think we were going to win on it. It just kind of felt like that type of day. I'm like, oh yeah, we're probably not going to win tonight. And I was like, I was fine with it. As long as we show some improvement from last week, I'm good. I'm not picky. It's been a pretty rough season. I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for the absolute destroying of my soul that happened. And by halftime, I was pretty much done. I watched the full game. I was proud of myself. I don't remember most of the fourth quarter, thankfully. So let's start off with, I'm going to go in order from the issues. So the secondary did pretty well. Allowed a couple of deep shots. No, they didn't, because they never threw deep. I would say they threw deep, but they didn't have to, because our linebackers sucked royally. We've always had issues with our linebackers the last couple of years. The Niners figured out that if you just completely attack our linebackers with crossing routes and like motions and sweeps, we can't do anything. It's not possible. Adrian Phillips can't stop the run. He's not physically able to. They dominated us, not anywhere else but between 10-yard line. From the line of scrimmage to the first down marker, they just destroyed us, including the D-line. Lawrence Guy got hurt. Brandon Copeland tore his pectoral. Rough day. Then you go to the offense. And we have the absolute worst offensive showing we've had all year. Even worse than the Denver game last week, where you guys, pooped on us. It was worse than that. Newton couldn't complete a pass. McDaniels couldn't call a play.
Yeah.
I mean, we were running halfback dive every play. I don't know why. They knew it was coming. We kept running into DJ Jones every play. I mean, that was pretty much the whole offense. Our receivers couldn't get separation. It's like I'm describing every New England loss, right? Our Edelman didn't even get a target in the game, right? He didn't get a target. N'Keal Harry got hurt in the second quarter, and I hate to say this, but it actually helped us because Jacoby Myers did more in one half of football than N'Keal has in his whole career. I'm being honest. Jacoby Myers caught 2 passes. That is better than anything I've seen on N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
And then Damari Bird, don't even get me started on Damari Bird. Sick of seeing number 10 try to be our number receiver. He has been playing as our number 1 receiver this season. It doesn't work. He has yet to get a long touchdown. Tight end court, Colton Keene got the start. That's all you need to know. He didn't do well. And the offensive line played decent. I think the issues in New England are really deep-rooted. I think there's 2 guys that are at the top of the issue board. Number 1 has to be Josh McDaniels.
You hired the right coach.
Josh McDaniels, he's been a great offensive coordinator for us in the past. I'm not discrediting anything he's done in the past. The last 2 seasons, he has been a terrible play caller. Predictable, doesn't break tendencies, refuses to change the game plan at halftime anymore. Doesn't give his quarterback any time. He doesn't give his quarterback enough patience. It's one read run, and you can't do that in the NFL. The quarterback, unless the quarterback's a really young guy, you can't do that with a veteran. It just doesn't make sense. And so he's an issue. And then Cam Newton has not been playing good ever since that Seattle game where he peaked. I don't even think he's thrown a touchdown. He threw one touchdown pass to Izzo. That's it.
Wow.
That's all he's done since the Seattle game is one touchdown pass. Stidham didn't look better. They threw Stidham out there for another pick. They asked Romo. Romo's never said a bad thing about anybody, right? And Romo, when people ask Romo things, they normally he always finds something to say, right, about a quarterback's abilities. It happens every time. And they asked Romo, "What do you like about Stidham's game?" And he stuttered, and he went, "No, I really like his poise." Really? The quarterback that's thrown 5 or 6 career interceptions and only 1 touchdown, 2 pick sixes. I don't know. Everything about this team is just completely terrible right now, and you can definitely just see the way they play. They aren't playing with any heart. I mean, we've scored 14 points in 2 games against defenses that shouldn't be holding us to 14 points. In the 49ers defense,
you scored 18 points in the past 2 games.
18. I'm sorry.
Against Denver, 6 against SF.
And San Francisco is running out of freaking practice squad. You can't score more than 6 points at home. Anyway, I'm getting repetitive, but long story short, Cam could get benched as soon as next week.
Yeah.
I don't see McDaniels returning.
Do you want to know what Cam's projected stats are for the end of the season?
Let me take a guess. I don't know his full stats right now. 1,800 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 14 picks.
How many picks?
14.
So right now, projected end of season stats would be 67% completion, just under 2,600 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 19 interceptions. He currently has just shy of 1,000 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. He is 31st in the league for passing touchdowns. But I know how you feel. Drew Lock's 32nd, so.
It's one of those things where I know there's some New England fans that are just going to say, it's all Newton, and move on. They're going to think getting rid of Newton's going to get rid of this problem. This issue is deep. I hate to say this, but I think Brady was really keeping this team together. It wasn't Belichick. It wasn't, Kraft. It wasn't cheating. It was Brady was holding this team together. How we made the playoffs last year with this same team, I have no idea. Looking back on it, if we didn't have that historic run from our defense, I don't think we make playoffs last year.
Yeah,
with Brady playing good, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. That's all I can really say about it. We're shopping the defensive player of the year. I mean,
I know how you feel.
Yeah, I guess I can't complain because I'm a spoiled, and I understand that. It's still embarrassing. Yeah, New England freaking sucks. That's the point of the rant.
Yeah,
You know
both
what?
their teams are
At the end of the
terrible.
day, New England just sucks right now. And you know what? I don't even think we're going to beat the Bills. I don't even know if we're going to score another touchdown. Doubt it. I mean,
with how they play against the Jets, you could probably score a touchdown.
Damian Harris, God love his soul. He's trying his best, man, but he can only do so much when Josh McDaniels is only telling him to run halfback dive. He can only run halfback dive so much before the team just crashes the gut.
Yeah.
And N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry. I tell you, man, he's a cool guy. I don't know if you've seen him, his interviews. Cool guy. I would love to have a beer with him, man. I just don't want him on my football team. Sorry. I can't listen to the Pats fans. I think he's like good. He's like what 300 career receiving yards.
Yeah,
Now
not
what
the best.
accumulates to a full season of work? 300 yards. The player we drafted over DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, and every other receiver from last year's draft class.
I actually want to
Anyway.
see what is. Sorry, I'm just checking Nikhil
You're fine.
Harry's stats.
It's about 300 yards, I think.
So his career, 31 receptions on 56 targets for 277 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 17 first downs. And he's also fumbled once.
Remember that fumble. Man, if he was like a 4th round pick, I don't think I'd be getting on him like this. He's a 1st round pick, and he's not a good receiver. Yeah. It just sucks to see. New England has a long rebuild. Well, I don't know if you call it a rebuild, a retool. Yes, is the proper term for it. Because we do have good pieces on the team. But
You have old
we're
pieces.
the team just is playing so dejected. It's going to be a purge this offseason. I can feel it. I don't think Michelle will be a Patriot this offseason. Doubt it.
Not the Georgia boy.
Yeah. Damon Harris has done enough with the halfback dive scheme that I think he's probably earned the starting running back job, even when Sonny comes back. I really like Harris in his game, but McDaniels, man, I respect everything you've done for New England. I really do.
McDonald's.
Please, man. Leave. Anyway, that's enough New England, right? Because that was like, what, 8 minutes? All right, I'm
That
done.
was more than 8 minutes.
And on top of that, the Ravens signed Des Bryant to the practice squad.
Yes. No, I thought he actually signed him to the 53.
I really? I
think
thought I
it was
read
the
practice squad.
53.
Was it? No,
So.
I don't think it was. I think it was
Oh,
just
no,
a
it's
practice squad.
Yeah, it was practice squad. Okay.
Yeah. So I need to check the World Series game. Still 1-0 in
So
the
we
top
should
of
move
the
on
fifth.
to our
Go
game of the week,
Rays!
since we're already an hour and 3 minutes in.
Go Tampa Bay Rays! Yeah, let's go.
So what do you have as your game of the week?
Oh yeah, barn burner Jets Chiefs. No. I think that my favorite game of the week is going to be the 49ers Seahawks.
Those are always good
It's
games.
going to be a good game because they hate each other, and who doesn't love teams that hate each other? So fun to watch. Yeah, I'm going that. I think the Seahawks do end up winning because they're going to be a little pissy about losing last week, especially in that close game.
Yeah.
And I'll give Seahawks 34-21.
Okay. My dirty toilet bowl is gonna be Sunday Night Football, Eagles and Cowboys. I think that's a dirty toilet bowl of the week. You know, it's all crusty and has been cleaned in like a few years. That's that.
No,
game.
I can confidently say I don't have a toilet seat like that in my house.
No, I don't either, but I can imagine what it'd be like. That's that game. My game of the week is going to be the Raiders and Browns. I'm going to give the game... I'll actually go with the Browns because I'd probably put them near the same offensively, but I think Browns have more talent defensively, and I think that will be the key to winning that game. It's going to probably be a high-scoring game. Probably, I'll say Browns 30... Yeah, I'll go Browns 30, Raiders 24.
Interesting. Yeah, should be a good game. I mean, the games this week kind of look a little
Sus.
suspect.
I mean, you got a nice divisional rivalry game between the Ravens and Steelers. That's also probably a game to watch. But
Yeah. Should be a good game. You have a good game in the Patriots Bills.
At least it's a morning game, so it's in the morning slot.
It
so
is?
yeah, it's in the 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a morning game for me.
Yeah. Means I'll have to. I hope it's not on my TV so I can have an excuse. No, I watch every Patriots game.
No,
And the ones that I don't get on TV.
The one you'll get locally will probably be Titans.
Probably. I mean, I'm proud of myself. I've watched every Patriots game for like 5 years. I'm on a streak. Watched them to completion too. But I got close last week. I'll admit. In the third quarter, I was close to turning it off, but I stuck it out. But it was rough. So, you wanted to give your in-depth college player of the week, the best session on here.
You know, I was gonna do a different player, but since I've already talked about a different player this week, I'm just gonna go with the player that we've already been talking about a little bit. So I'm gonna go with Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU. So Zach Wilson, he is 6'3", 210 pounds. I believe he's only like 20-something years old. He's very young, because he didn't go on his mission, so age isn't an issue. I believe he's, I want to say 20, 21. Come on, give me his age. Come on, let's go. Okay, Wikipedia, maybe you have it. 21, thank you. August of 99. So, just like 3 months older than I am. That's weird to
Depressing.
see. That's very...
It's very depressing.
Yeah, to say the least. He could use to add some more, like, muscle mass to his game. He seems a little lean. But he is a good athlete with balance and agility. He's able to manipulate the pocket pretty well. He demonstrates a good ability to extend plays outside the pocket. And he does very well on bootlegs and read actions. Probably going to be a very good quarterback that you want to like get into a play action rhythm very early on in his career with those PA boots and some of the read actions. His mobility gives him second chances when a play breaks down to extend the play. He's done very well delivering the ball outside the pocket. He's actually very good, surprisingly, throwing the ball to his left. As a right-handed quarterback, that's pretty impressive. He flips his hips around and delivers the ball from a lot of different arm angles. But one of my concerns, I have two concerns about his arm. His arm is good, not great. And also he has a 3/4 kind of release, so kind of like a Phillip Rivers release sort of thing. It's kind of awkward, but it's quick. But it does put a lot of pressure on his shoulder, which his shoulder has already had a surgery, and he's also already had a surgery on his throwing arm and throwing hand. So that'll be something you have to look out for during the draft process, see how much of an impact that might have on his play. He throws a catchable ball. That's pretty self-explanatory. His 2019 tape, his accuracy was inconsistent. This year he's looked much better. He's made a huge leap this year. He doesn't get a lot of velocity on his balls, except for some reason when he throws a back shoulder 9 route, his velocity on his throws is fantastic. I don't know how he does that exactly. Like on a simple go, it'll be meh to good. It'll be good enough. But for some reason on a back shoulder 9, he has a lot of zip on that ball. But he plays for BYU, and he's the best player on their team. So he doesn't really have a lot of talent around him that's like high level. So he does resort to playing hero ball quite a bit, thinking his athleticism can, make a play that isn't really there when he should be making that check down. But that's correctable. That's correctable when you can learn to trust your team a bit more. He's from what I've seen, he's a great leader with lots of competitiveness. But his main concerns is his injury history and his okay arm, like 3 shoulder release. But other than that, he's my 4th quarterback in the class behind Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance. I'd even probably could, just because of the lack of what we've seen from Trey Lance, there's not really much there besides one singular year. Although it was impressive, it was also against D2. So I'd probably put Zach Wilson and Trey Lance as quarterback 3, A and B. that's how much I like him, honestly.
That should be interesting to see. I really can't wait to see Trey Lance in the NFL.
Yeah.
I do. That season, I know, again, it was one season. And I know I'm kind of counteracting myself because I don't like 1-year quarterbacks in the draft. But I'm a sucker for Trey Lance.
I'm okay with like 1 year of greatness from a quarterback, as we saw with like Joe Burrow, because usually that means you saw the improvement in college. Like you just saw like a random spike, like the last season typically before the draft. I'm okay with that. My again, going back to what your point is, like only starting 1 year total is a big red flag for me.
Trubisky, Haskins.
Trubisky, Haskins, yeah.
Fantasy. By the way, can I just say this? Fantasy has been a dumpster fire this year. Nothing is going like it's supposed to. The opposite of everything that should happen has happened. So if you're taking my fantasy advice, condolences, because I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Your John Brown worked for 1 week for me. I think I've already cut him.
Jeez. But there is a couple interesting fantasy matchups this week that I think. I talked about it earlier. Le'Veon Bell is playing the Jets. I know he hasn't gotten any workload in Kansas City. He's playing his former team, and something tells me that part of signing with the Chiefs was the Chiefs telling him, "We'll let you beat up on the Jets."
Absolutely.
I just have a feeling. I would start Le'Veon Bell against the Jets. That's just me. I'm gonna go with a few players. That one's gonna be interesting. Aaron Rodgers versus the Vikings. That's gonna be a bloodbath. Start Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna be starting Aaron Rodgers for this week. Titan. Oh, Derrick Henry gets to go against the Bengals.
Oof. Their non-existent run defense.
Oh, that's gonna be rough. I would start every single Bills player that plays behind the line of scrimmage. Any quarterback, running back, or receivers that run any type of little routes under the start them. Because after the Niners expose that weakness, the Bills are going to exploit it. Bad. That's that. Seahawks, I would maybe start DK because the Niners don't really have a number one corner. So I guess DK would be a good play. And then the last play I can think of, start every Buccaneers player. I don't care who you have. It could be the fifth string. It could be if you have water boys in your league, you better be starting the Buccaneers water boy because the Buccaneers are going to absolutely destroy the Giants on Monday night. So
before Daniel Jones somehow finds a way to win and doesn't commit a single turnover for the first time in his career.
It's 2020, but let's not get crazy. Anyway, all right, we rambled way too long.
Actually,
my
I
Patriot
actually
rant.
forgot to say something about the draft player. I wanted to say his stats, but I forgot his stats. He's shown that improvement. Like 2019, sorry. He had 62% completion percentage, 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. This year, he still has 4 or 5 games left to play. He has 78% completion percentage, already 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns to only 1 interception. So he's really made a big jump, and not just the national media perspective, but in statistical and film category as well. That's it. Now I'm done.
Well, we've rambled really long, just to make up, I guess, for the week off we took.
Yeah.
But if you guys listen this far, you guys are crazy. But thank you again for listening this far, and I think we'll see you next week. I think we will. We'll see you next week on Belichick's Bitches podcast.